Hey, this is Jason Mott. If you want your baseball news, listen to One Cardinal, One Cub, and One Beer with JJ and Vince.
Hey, welcome to another episode of One Cardinal, One Cub. And one of our listeners said that we needed to call this two beers.
Two beers? All right,
Yeah,
two beers.
one for each one of us, okay?
All
And
right.
I did say that JJ would have root beer because you don't drink beer at all. So good.
I never even tried one. So I'd probably be a lunatic more so. Even I'd probably be off the charts if I drank.
You know, do you drink coffee? You don't drink coffee, do you?
I've never had coffee either. Never even tried it.
Jeez, man. I live
It's,
off coffee. What's wrong with you?
it never even came up in my life. I mean, in the Navy, the old timers, we called them the lifers, would just stand around and drink coffee and point out what you did. You missed the spot. That's about what they did. And I was like, Mountain Dew. I do drink my Mountain Dew, but that's about it. Water, Kool-Aid, Mountain Dew.
That's how I parented. I just sit there with coffee and I pointed out everything they're doing wrong.
Yes,
I'll,
Dad.
I'll tell a story on my daughter.
All right.
Evelyn's about 12, and I've always been an early riser, and she's an early riser too. So we'd both get up about 5:30 before she had to go to school, and we would both have coffee. So one day, I don't exactly remember what I was saying to her, but I was joking around, and she said something like, "Just drinking her coffee, and that's why nobody likes you, Dad, because you are a little prick."
Man.
Evelyn, do you know what you just called your father? A little prick. Do you know what a little prick is? No, you just called your father a penis. What? Oh my gosh, I call people that all the time.
Oh, oh man. Woo!
Yeah. So I've had people say, "Oh, I would have smacked her right there." I didn't think that she knew what she was talking about. Otherwise, she wouldn't have told me that.
I like that she's drinking the coffee and reminiscing and a few words here, sip. I like that. It's probably, that's how I see people at the coffee places just kind of enjoying themselves.
Oh
But I
yeah,
didn't know she was going to say that.
I didn't either. So,
Oh, man.
hey, those of you who are watching us on the YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can have our information as soon as it drops. Those of you who are on Facebook, please remember to like us on Facebook, and that way you can get some information. I did another player that's not a Hall of Famer, but was an All Star, had a significant career. And this week I looked at Jose Cruz, and it's in the form of Ripley's Believe It or Not. It's easy to read, it takes you 3 seconds, but always loved Jose Cruz. And
I did
I
too.
know Cardinal fans, old time Cardinal fans, he's one of those that they can't stand to talk about because, oh, we gave him every chance in the world for years and he never would do anything. We trade him to Houston, he becomes a star.
It,
It happens sometimes.
it does.
Hey,
It
we
does.
we traded Owen Casey, I think in November, and he lit the World Baseball Classic on fire and carried that Canadian team. So, hey, we also got rid of Lou Brock. So, I
Well,
I, I know stuff like that happens sometimes.
oh, yeah. You guys got a really good pitcher, though, for him. I think in the long run, you got what you needed. That's what the prospects are for. But Cardinals, especially here lately. I mean, Steve Carlton, we got Rick Wise, and he had a couple good years, but Steve Carlton went on to be one of the all-time greats. So it happens to every team.
Do you know that Rick Wise was the first pitcher to not only have a victory against every team in Major League Baseball,
Oh,
because there's been a few others that have done that, but he was also the first. He was the first pitcher who had a win against every team in Major League Baseball and a loss against every team in Major League Baseball.
I didn't know that.
And plus,
Oh,
he had what I think is still the greatest game ever, pitched no hitter while hitting 2 home runs. Uh,
that's hard to beat.
Take that, Otani. Try that. That.
Yeah.
There's your challenge. Okay. If you'd like to contact us, you can contact us through one of our platforms. You can contact us through direct message. You can contact us through um, leaving a comment on one of our platforms, or you can do the old-fashioned email, one card, one cup, one beer at gmail.com. For those of you who would like to support our efforts, and JJ, who wouldn't? You can go to patreon.com and you can put in the search bar one Cardinal, one Cub, and one beer. You can find us and you can support us for as little as $3 or as much as $10 a month. I mean, no one's going hungry without that. I mean, you may not be able to go to work because gas is getting close to $4 a gallon, but you know, you're going to save money on gas because you're going to lose your job. You might as well support us.
Yeah. Spread the wealth, man.
Oh, JJ, tell me. Well, first, happy St. Patrick's Day. Neither of us are wearing green.
Oh, I got the.
Oh, all right. Well, you can stomp on my toe because I'm not wearing green.
And I got the Cardinal Patty's Day jersey in the background today.
Did you have corned beef and cabbage?
No, I did not. And I love corned beef and cabbage. Love it. But no, I didn't have that today. Maybe this weekend.
I had another great Irish dish. I had bratwurst.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah.
Anyway, happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody out there. By the time you hear this, St. Patrick's Day will be a day late or 300 and some odd days away, however you want to look at it. But I had a rough night. I've had a rough time. I was telling JJ, I have two computers, and one of them, I've had it for quite a while since like the pandemic, and it's kind of on its last leg. And then I had another one that I was doing the bulk of my work with, and it was one of my wife Kathy's old computers, a big powerful thing, you know, that could hold all the programs. It crapped out, so I had to get another computer. So if you think I'm looking, you're looking at me from a different angle, you are, because I still have my old computer over here, but I can't do this on that one. So the laptop is set here, and so, but you can see Jack Brickhouse over my shoulder here. Jack Brickhouse 5000. You can also see, oh, I think that's a little comic book thing, and yeah. Route 66 clock, you know, all the important stuff that I have.
It gives you a different look. It's sort of like a lens, like the Silver Shepherd on Moonlighting. You got that like glow about you.
Gosh, I cannot believe someone finally realizes that I am trying to pull off the Sybil Shepherd look. I
The Last Picture Show.
Yeah. So, and also I've had a rough time because being it got cold. Now we live in Peevely, so our cats are indoor outdoor cats because we don't have like a subdivision or anything like that. And two of our cats, Tuffy and Gizmo, are smart enough to stay inside when it's cold. They know it's cold.
Yeah.
Bing Bong, he wants to go out. We used to have a cat flap. We got a new back door. We don't have a cat flap on there. But I will get up and I will let him out. Well, and then he will jump into the window and claw at the window to wake us up when he wants in. He did that about 4 times last night. And I was like, I need sleep. Stop it. So, because what he would do is he would want to go outside. I would open the door and he'd just stand there and realize, it's still cold. Summer didn't hit since the last 10 minutes ago when you opened the door. And then he'd turn around and walk to the couch. But anyway,
he's got the life.
I spoil him too bad. Anyway, JJ, how are you doing? Have you been getting enough sleep? You do. You are the Phyllis to my Sybil Shepherd, by the way.
There you go. There you go. I have had a great time. Me and Brody got tickets for Sunday's game on the 28th, I believe, 29th. The third game, hopefully it's the rubber game of the Tampa Bay Devil Rays and Cardinals. I'm excited. We're going to go to that game, and I've got a project I'm working on. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to do it over the year, but I'm going to basically get a big frame and put I don't know how I'm going to do it, either Ricky Henderson as an Oakland A or all of his Topps cards, one of the two. And here's a couple I already have. This is the big one. This is his rookie card. If it's grades a 10, it's pretty valuable, but that's a rookie card right there that everybody wants. That's the 1980 Ricky Henderson. And then I got the 81, which I like this card too, right there. So 80, 81. I've ordered the 82. It's graded. It's going to be an 8 because the money from an 8 to 9 jumps pretty high. And then here's a Diamond Kings Ricky Henderson, which I also like. So I'm going to get a green frame and put all the Ricky Henderson Oakland A's cards in there and display that. I want something thin so I can, put it away. And every year I'm going to work on another player. And Brody goes, Dad, after you get Ricky Henderson done, would you do Bartolo Colon? I said, sure, I'll work on Bartolo Colon next year. So that's going to be my project next year when we do this. You're under attack, Vince. I see a close-up. You got a big close-up, then it went back a little bit.
Okay, do I sound better now?
You sound like the Bugles in that song, Video Killed the Radio Star. Like he sings at the very beginning.
I sound like that?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, like you're kind of maybe talking through a megaphone a little bit.
Okay, because I realized that I didn't have this mic plugged into the laptop.
Oh, so it's just capturing your voice.
Do I sound better? Because I
think you do. I think you do.
Okay. Yeah, it's on.
Okay.
All right. Well, technical difficulty.
Yeah.
I've been talking into a dead mic. So. Anyway, get into some baseball here. There's really no transactions of note. There's nobody that's of significance that's been cut yet. That will happen this week. We're going to start to see a few of the names fall off that we've recognized. Boston did sign left-handed pitcher Danny Colomba. I hate trying to pronounce his name, but that's the only transaction of note. Everything else is just players that you expected to be reassigned to AAA, being reassigned to AAA and AA, so on and so forth. But I do want to talk about the World Baseball Classic because there's been some very interesting things that have happened. And tonight is the championship game. The USA is going to play Venezuela, which is interesting. The country that we went in and took out their president now. So, wow. Strange how life works sometimes. But anyway, we are playing Venezuela, and that game starts in about 13 minutes. So JJ and I are going to catch it after like the first few innings. But the way the United States got there is a little bit controversial because in the semifinal game, Dominican Republic has one out, a runner on third, and they can't cash him in. And Perdomo is up with 2 outs and clearly ball 4, and they called it strike 3 and ended the game for the Dominican Republic. I don't like winning a game on a questionable call like that. It does look like the game is being played in the United States. We got a favorable call because of it. But I was very impressed with Albert Pujols' statement saying that I'm not going to harp on that. And I thought that was the classy thing to do. Did you watch that? And what did you think about it? Do you feel like that the United States kind of had a little bit of a tainted victory there?
Well, I always felt like when I was a foreigner in another country, I had to be on my not only good behavior, my best behavior. I feel like since we're hosting, you don't want anything to even look like it's contrived or anything like that. And I watched the game, and there was a lot of pitches for both sides, a little outside, a little inside. And I think these umps do a good job because these pitchers are elite. They make balls dip and dive and everything. And I just wish I never thought I'd say this, Vince, but I wish we had the robot umps where they could say, "Wait a minute, I don't think that was a strike." I think that would have solved any kind of problems right there. And I'd like you say that was a ball, but man, that kid from San Diego, God, he throws like 100, 203 miles an hour, and with the dipping, you know, I wouldn't want to be in that umpire's shoes right there. David Ortiz, after the game, said he was hurt by the loss, but he said we had a lot of opportunities to score and we just didn't cash it in. And that happened to be the last pitch. But he goes, I don't want to take anything away from the Americans. They played a great game and they had great pitching. And runs were so hard to come by. Julio Rodriguez stole a Judge home run and made a terrific play. Judge threw the teeth out at third. Seems like after that throw, they weren't quite as aggressive on the base pads, and that may have hurt them. I think if they had been a little more aggressive, they might have scored, tied it, or won the game. But yeah, Vince, I hated it. It ended like that. I really do. And and like Derek Jeter said after the game, this will probably be the last World Baseball Classic game that doesn't have the robot umps that make that call.
Yeah, I think he's right too. I think that they're gonna have to incorporate it now after a controversial win like that. And it did remind me, and I hate to bring this up because I know it's still a sore spot after 41 years. But in Game 7 of the '85 World Series, when the Cardinals are getting blown out, and Herzog, I think Andujar got thrown out, so Herzog went out there and started jawing at Denkinger, and he said, if you would have made the right call last night, we wouldn't be here tonight. And Dinkinger, I'm sure he was waiting for this in case Herzog got his face, said, if your team wasn't hitting 170 with runners in scoring position, we wouldn't be here tonight.
So, that's true. Both are true. But
you can win baseball games. There are 9 innings and extra innings, but they're basically 9 innings to a baseball game, a normal baseball game, and you can win it in any inning.
Anyway, to a wild pitch, a hit by a pitch. I've seen games finish on a hit by pitch, and you're like, you play 9 innings and it comes down to a hit by pitch. Oh, it's got to kill you,
Yeah, and I do think that the pitch kind of fooled the ump because it was looking like it was going to be a strike, and then it just started sinking so fast. And when you're throwing 104 miles an hour, it's hard for the umpire to, oh my gosh. And that reminds me of when Kerry Wood was pitching after his Tommy John surgery, and it was his slider or curve, one of the two, for about the first 3 or 4 games he pitched. There would be pitches in the strike zone, clearly in the strike zone with the breaking ball, and they would call it a ball. And Baylor got to the point where when Wood was pitching, he would go out to the umpires and say, watch it close because you're going to want to call something a ball and it's going to break over the plate. And I don't want to have to come out and argue it and get thrown out. And he actually told the press that's what he's been telling the umpires to, the breaking ball breaks a lot more than most breaking balls. So
be ready.
Stay on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what is going to have to be done with Mason Miller. You're going to have to really make, I guess, later calls to make sure that ball does go over the plate or not go over the plate. Because umpires are human. I mean, they see a million pitches, and probably sometimes, especially with the fastball, halfway to the plate, they already know that's going to be a strike. And this one came and the bottom just fell out. It was a nasty pitch.
It was nasty. I don't know how he laid off of it. First off, I think it was the 3-2 count too when it ducked down.
I was surprised he didn't swing.
I would have. Anything close, I'd be pulling that trigger. Except me, when he's here holding the ball, I would already start my swing. I would have started. He could have had me swinging out of my shoes right there.
And the only thing
Vince, there's something ESPN reported that I think I was going to mention later, but that besides the strike zone, which I think the umpires do a great job. Every time there's a where they want to call a pitch, the batter says no, I think that was a ball. The umps are still the odds of them being correct are overwhelming. The other thing, and ESPN reported this, and I didn't know baseball was doing this. In A ball, they have the robot checking check swings, because I've always thought, man, that's hard to call. We had a kid in our neighborhood who would swing all the way through, but he never broke his wrist. And the rule used to be you had to break your wrist to actual swing, so he could go all the way around and never break his wrist. He said, I didn't swing. But they said it's going to be like a 45-degree angle. Once it hits that 45-degree angle, it'll be a strike. And they're now using the robot umps to call check swings, and it's going to move up to AAA this year. And they're working it through the minor leagues first before it comes to the big leagues. If they can get this down, I think that's great, because so many times I've seen games end on a check swing, and it's so quick and fast. There's hardly no way you can catch that, and be 100% correct. So maybe the robots can get it down pat.
Yeah, I kind of like that, because I think the check swing is harder to call than balls and strikes.
Me too. I agree.
Yeah. Especially for the third base umpire, who is usually not in the best position. Like, the first base umpire is usually in a pretty good position to see, because especially with the runner on base, you got to be close to the base to make the call. Third base umpire is playing off of the base, so they don't have the true angle that the first base umpire does. So I think it's I could get on board with that.
Yeah, me too.
So, to get to the quarterfinals, the United States team were 3-0 in their pool, and they still had to play Italy. And Mark DeRosa said before the game, well, being we've already got our position sewed up, it's kind of a, not that important game. Problem was, Mark DeRosa was wrong.
Wrong.
There was still a very real possibility that we were not going to make the quarterfinals.
Yes.
It looked terrible on Mark DeRosa, and the team bailed him out. They won, but he had a lineup that he had like Goldschmidt playing, and he didn't play to win. The only thing that really made the game close was PCA hit 2 home runs and drove in 4. So I don't know if Mark DeRosa is going to be back as the manager in the World Baseball Classic. And I was listening to a podcast, and they reminded me, well, they reminded all the listeners, they weren't just talking to me, that DeRosa has had some interviews for managers, and he's been passed over. And this is probably going to completely kill his shot at getting a manager, being a manager on a big league level. It's not hard to figure out if you have something locked up or not. I mean, shoot, I could see that there was a 2-3-0 teams and a 2-1 team there, and that doesn't mean you've sewed it up. It means there could be 3 teams at 3-1.
Yes.
And, yeah, it looked really bad, and I really like Mark DeRosa.
Love him.
Former Cardinal, great guy. Everybody likes him. And I'm not saying it's a gaffe that I wouldn't have made, because he's a lot smarter than me, but it does look really bad, and I am happy that they made the quarterfinals and didn't go home due to that, because then every one of those books that you read, that I read growing up, baseball's strangest plays, baseball's wackiest moments, that will be in those kind of books. Okay.
If he wins it though, Vince, I think, and the players come out and say, I wouldn't want to play for anybody but this guy, I think it could smooth it. I think it'd be smoothed over. It's hard to become a major league manager. There's only 30 jobs, and some of these guys have spent their whole lives working their way up the ladder, or you've had success everywhere. Craig Counsell, I understand. Joe Madden, I know why he went there. Whitey Herzog, Tony La Russa, those guys have just everywhere they go, they're they win. They're very competitive. But to get a big league job, that's tough, man. It is so tough. So I think if they win and the players come up and say, DeRozan, what a call you did there. Thanks, man. And or something like that, I think it could be smoothed over and he might be back. He enjoys doing it. And it's hard to get a team together because the teams, as payrolls go up, they don't want their star player going out there and getting hurt. I love to see Scooble pitch tonight. I'm hoping we go out, we turn the game on, and Scooble's pitching, but I don't think he's going to.
Well, this is tonight's lineup.
Okay.
Bobby Witt Jr. leading off, followed by Bryce Harper, Aaron Judge, Kyle Schwarber, Alex Bregman, Roman Anthony. Will Smith is catching, Bryce Trang at second, and in center is going to be Byron Buxton, and the pitcher is going to be McLean, who was having those just 2 weeks ago, having dizzy issues, but he says he's ready. His quote was, "I am built for this." And we have a bench of Clement, PCA, Goldschmidt, Henderson, and Raleigh. That's a pretty good bench. So
that's a good bit. Now the bullpen might be depleted. We've used the bullpen a lot lately, so it might be a little short on this one.
Well, what you brought up something you want to turn on see Scooble pitching. That's not going to happen. Matthew Boyd's already went back. He's not going to pitch anymore. So he's already a few days he's been with the Cubs. I think they should put in a new rule for the World Baseball Classic. If you commit to be in the World Baseball Classic, you commit to be there from the first pitch until your team's eliminated.
I like that.
What would it have hurt for Terrence Skubal to go out and pitch 4 innings tonight? He's going to pitch more than that in his last spring outing. I mean, he's going to have at least one more spring outing before he
probably 70 pitches he'd go.
Yeah. I don't get. I would not. It's like in the Olympics. What if members of the hockey team, I want to go home and practice with my real team or whatever. It's different stakes. I think that they should put a rule in that if you commit to play this, and it seemed like the United States was the only team that was really having issues with this. If you commit to play this, then you're there from the first pitch until your team's eliminated. End of story. What do you think of that rule?
I love it. And you're right. There's players. I know Lindor from the Mets wanted to play, but the team, he's coming off injuries. They said, no, we don't want to risk you. We need you for the regular season. I understand that, but he wanted to play so bad. I think there's a couple other players due to injuries. But yeah, if you make that commitment and you go down there, stay, unless there's an injury or something like that, of course. But I think if we win tonight, it would have been great if Boyd could have been there he's part of the team. He's one of the reasons we're this far, and he could celebrate and be a part of that festivity. If the Americans lose, I'm fine with that too. This is baseball's a game where anything can happen. You could be a juggernaut of a team and lose 3-2. The Venezuelans are very good. It'd be great for their
good team. Yeah,
it'd be great for their country and their fans over there. So I'm bipartisan. I'm just going to sit and watch all this great talent go at it. And I'll be honest with you, Vince, it's a little more exciting than the All-Star game, because the All-Star game, you might see your guy bat once, maybe twice, and they're having fun and it's competitive. But they're out to win here, and I just absolutely have really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I that's a good analogy. I do like it better than the All-Star game. I would say in the past 15 years, I've probably missed 5 or 6 All-Star games. Not because I had to, because I'm not interested in watching it. It's not a competitive game. When we were growing up, the All-Star game was competitive because players generally didn't switch leagues that much, and there was league pride on the line. But now with interleague play and everything, and
No mystery.
Free
You see
agency.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like it is an exhibition, which is fine. I don't mind
Yeah.
it being an exhibition, but I would rather watch a competitive game. So um, I think that, yeah, it's, I said last week, aside from playoff baseball, this is my second favorite thing about baseball now, even more than the regular season. I love the regular season. I love being that guy who wastes his time to watch so many games that,
I'm with you. I'm with you. The regular season is like, I don't know. I don't want to put like it's like an epic. Every little it's a piece of the puzzle. Every little thing counts, and it's and if you are more consistent than the other guy in the long run, you have a better year. But the playoffs are now. Everything happens. It's so immediate. The rewards and the failures are so immediate. It's just it's excruciating and euphoric at the same time. So I'm with you, Vince. I'm kind of a regular season guy because I love the tediousness of getting ahead and making those calls and not using your bullpen up and just being competitive until September and then put the foot to the gas and let it fly in September.
yeah. Um, I know we've been talking about baseball, but I forgot to talk about this. I do want to congratulate three of our local teams for making the NCAA tournament. The Fighting Illini
That's a
is
great
a
story.
number 3 seed. The Missouri Tigers are a number 10 seed, and the St. Louis Billikens are a number 9 seed. The Billikens could have been a 4 or a 5 seed, but the last few weeks they lost. I think they've got 5 losses this year, and they lost 4 in the last couple of weeks. So if they would have remained consistent, they would have had a much better seed. But I was thinking after they lost in the second round of the A10 tournament, they may not make it even with that gaudy record because they really haven't played anybody. Their strength of schedule was not that good. But anyway, congratulations to those 3 teams. And also, local team, congratulations to the St. Louis Flyers, who won the Illinois Class 3A basketball championship. Way to go.
Hey, way to go. And I have to throw out Arkansas Razorback. We won the SEC tournament. Villanova was the championship game, and it was a nail biter. And the Razorbacks worked their way through the tournament. Every game came down to the final 3 minutes, and they're a 4 seed, and they're playing Hawaii Thursday night. So Razorbacks, they only run 7 guys off the bench. I mean, they go the whole time, 40 minutes of hell. Anybody can beat them, and they can beat anybody. So just hang on. It's going to be a fun 40 minutes with Razorbacks out there.
Do you know what a luau is?
Well, that's one of them parties at night, ain't it?
That's what they have in Hawaii. Do you know what the main dish of the luau is?
A pig in
A whole pig. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys want to play Hawaii.
Oh, that's true. Oh, those dirty dogs are going to take it to us now. I don't know if we've ever even played Hawaii. If we have, it hasn't been a whole lot.
I like the name the Rainbow Warriors.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Only one obituary this week. Gary Wagner, who pitched from 65 through 70 with the Phillies and the Red Sox. He passed away at the age of 85. Looked into his career a little bit. Good reliever. He accumulated 22 saves over his career. But when I say, he had a 6-year career, it was really only total like 3 seasons because he fought injury all the time. So, but anyway, he passed away at the age of 85. So rest his soul. What kind of news do you have, JJ?
Well, I've been really scouring the statistics. They say spring training statistics don't matter, but sometimes these players are on the bubble to make the team or to win a position. So I narrowed it down to 3 players I think are having a heck of a spring, and I'm just going to point them out. The Orioles have an infielder, a 24-year-old named Kobe Mayo, and he was one of their big draft choices. They got so much talent. And why it's important is Jordan Westberg is out with a partial torn right UCL for the year. He's hit five. This Colby Mayo so far in spring has hit 500, 13 for 26, three doubles, a home run, and 10 RBIs. He's leading all the Orioles in RBIs, and he will make the team and play third base for them at the beginning of the year. And you know, Vince, anything can change. I mean, you just as hot as you've been in the spring, you can turn cold, and maybe after a week or two, they give you a few days off, and then you're on the bench or back in the minors. So he looks like that's a name we should kind of keep track of, that he's going to be one of their starting players. The Yankees have a right-handed pitcher named Carlos LaRange. He's 22 years old, and he's their number 2 prospect, and he routinely hits 103 miles an hour. Where are they making these people? These pitchers are coming out, and there ain't nobody. Their changeups are like 95 miles an hour now. Anyway, Garrett Cole says he's never seen anything like it. This kid's pitching. He's electric. And I'm just saying, my gosh, I'm kind of looking forward to see this kid pitch. So it looks like he may make the rotation there. He's doing a really good job this spring. And then our one of our tough opponents for both the Cubs and the Cardinals is the Milwaukee Brewers. And last year they picked up Andrew Vaughn, and he just seemed to really solidify that lineup when he got in there. It seems like he found himself in Milwaukee after being with the White Sox. And Vince, he has hit 13 hits this spring over 100 miles an hour. He's really getting the bat on the ball and just driving that thing. He's got 3 doubles, 2 home runs, and he's hitting 400 over 10 games he's played this spring. So we will get acquainted with Mr. Andrew Vaughn this year, as both the Cubs and the Cardinals will be playing him quite a bit. But it looks like they found their first baseman. That was a position that they had like a, rotation going over the years. Different guys have come in.
They've had players play first who's come in. Jesus Aguilar had a really tremendous season. Rowdy Tellez. They've had players come in and play first and have like this huge season, and you think, oh gosh, they've got their guy, and then they fall off the earth. I'm not sold on Andrew Vaughn. It's like, will the real Andrew Vaughn stand up? Are you the player who was on the White Sox who was just not good at all, or are you this? He's probably somewhere in the middle, because he did kind of cool down towards the end of the season for the Brewers, but I just am not sold on him. I don't think a half a season makes a career, and so far he has kind of proved that, yeah. But then again, you always have your David Ortiz, when he has a change of scenery, suddenly he becomes a Hall of Famer. Joey Batista bounced around the Pirates, the Reds, and then found it with the Blue Jays. So you never know, but I'm not saying he's not going to make it. I'm just saying I'm not sold on him yet. I need to see a little more of it.
The Brewers there's something magical happening up there. They trade a guy, you think, what did they trade that guy for? Durbin, that kid that we thought was really good. They traded him and got some new pieces. And then it just seems like, man, where they keep finding these guys, and they come in and do a very either good job or they have career years. And I tip my cap. I wish we could have had some of that going on right now.
In the early 2000 teens, that's how I felt about the Cardinals. Where are they finding all these guys? Because everybody they brought in threw harder than the last. I mean, they were all throwing in the high 90s to 100. And our bullpen was, they were like softball pitchers. And I was saying, where are the Cardinals finding these? And now you're not finding them anymore. Like I guess you're still finding them, Jordan Hicks. Dean Kent's. They're just not panning out.
Helsley.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll wait and see what's going on with him. But that 13 hits in spring training, that's a heck of a season. And this guy for the Yankees, I want to see him pitch against the Brewers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they can have him. So
You remember I think it was about 3 weeks ago, you mentioned that Fergie Jenkins was selling off a lot of his memorabilia for charity.
yes.
Was it Fergie? Well, I read a story and I knew Dimitri Young, who played for the Tigers and the Cardinals and some other teams, was a huge baseball card collector. Because I heard Sean Casey had a locker next to him, and every day you get a package. And what did you get today? What did you get today? And he would get like pristine cards of, Preacher Rowe and Sandy Koufax and Clemente and these guys. So he's got this collection. Well, Dimitri Young, I thought he had a collection like, Tony Pruno. He only had 500 cards, but they were all primo cards. He sold his collection. They were Hall of Fame rookies from 1948 to 1990. 500 cards. He sold them for $2.4 million, and he put that money towards his charity, which supports youth sports in inner cities. And I think that's fantastic. He had his hobby. You can't keep these cards forever. It's nice to be a caretaker of them, but somebody else will enjoy them. And then he took the money and he gave it to a charity. I just think that's fantastic and a great story right there.
Yeah, I always thought he was a classy guy. Good sense of humor.
Yes.
He you see some people, oh, they really don't enjoy playing baseball. Then you see other guys, well, that guy's having fun. Dimitri Young always seemed like he was having fun. The Cardinals, the Reds, the Tigers. Did he?
Can't think of anybody else, but yeah, I know. I'm thinking about baseball cards, Cardinals, and you're right, Reds. I forgot about the Reds.
Yeah, good guy. What else you got?
One last thing I got, Vince. This shows you how boring my life is. I was looking up right fielders for the White Sox, and I was going through lists and how many seasons people played. I'm a baseball nerd. My wife just go do your baseball thing. So I'm looking through there, and Vince, there was a guy named John Bertrand Conlon, and he played 2 years in right field. And I thought, I've heard that name before. John Conlon. He played 2 years with the White Sox. So I did a deep dive. For some reason, I said, I've heard this guy's name before. He played in 1934 and 1935. Now, his baseball stats, 2 years in the big leagues, that I'm impressed. I mean, heck, I'd be like Moonlight Graham. Just give me one bat. I just want to have a baseball card with on it. But his WAR in those 2 years was 0.6. He played 128 games, 96 hits, did not hit a home run, and his lifetime batting average is 263. And he spent 13 years in the minors. Vince, this man's in the Hall of Fame. Do you know how he's in the Hall of Fame? I think this is a pretty good story.
He bought a ticket.
Like you did. Hall of Fame too. Are
yeah,
you?
I'm in the Hall of Fame. I bought a ticket.
All right. His nickname was Jocko. So it's Jocko Conlon. Does that name ring a bell to you?
No, but I remember the Devo song Jocko Homo.
Oh, that's right. I don't think this guy here.
And I remember the guy with the battery. Oi, 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 Jocko.
Yeah.
The 80s.
Jocko Conlon in 1935, he was playing baseball. It was the end of the year. And I didn't know this. This is a great story. There was only 2 umpires per game. One of the umpires got sick. The other team, they were playing the Browns. So it was the White Sox versus the Browns. The Browns said, let Jocko ump. He's the most honorable. Like, we trust him. He can ump. So he went in there, he umped, did a great job. And then the next year, he becomes an ump. And let's see. He actually umped 5 World Series, 6 All-Star games, and he was known for having a bow tie. He always wore a bow tie, where I think the other ump, and he was the last ump to have an outside chest protector. Now they wear the inside chest protectors. Yeah. How I remember him was, and Leo DeRocha said he threw me out of more games, but I have so much respect for him as an ump. Yeah, I should have been thrown out of those games. And Joe Garagiola, St. Louis, he was a catcher, he would always tell stories about this ump because catchers have a unique relationship with the ump because they're right behind you. And just saying he had funny stories and everything. And Danny Kaye even had a song where he mentions Jocko Conlon in the song. So he goes into the Hall of Fame, I believe it was 1974, and he umped from 1941 to 1965. And people, most umps, they're unknown. You don't really, you've heard the name, but he was like beloved by everybody in the league. And, he made mistakes here and there, but a guy who played 2 years and in an emergency situation came in, umpired, and made a career out of it and ended up in the Baseball Hall of Fame. That's a pretty cool story.
Yeah. Who was, let me look this up. The umpire who wrote the book, The Umpire Strikes Back.
Ooh, I don't know.
Um,
Is that Country Joe West or something?
no, I don't like Country Joe West.
You don't like Country Joe?
The umpire.
Oh, I remember him. It's like Leo. He's an Italian name. It's an Italian name. I remember that.
The umpire.
Lucio. Something. Oh, I remember him. He used to be on Johnny
Luciano?
Carson. Yes, I think that's him.
Okay. Yeah, I think he eventually killed himself.
What? Oh, no.
But anyway, I read his book when I was a kid, and I think it was Amos Otis. When he was coming in from the field, he told Luciano, "I'm in a bad slump. I'm probably going to roll over and ground out. Blah blah blah. Don't take it or just take it easy on me." So Luciano, who had this tremendous sense, all the players loved him because he had this tremendous sense of humor and he had a good rapport with the players. So sure enough, he rolls over, grounds out, and when they threw him out, Luciano, instead of just going out, he pulled the trigger like 8 times. You're out, you're out, you're out, you're out.
Oh, man. Very cool. That's great.
Oh. Any other news?
No, not just MLB news. That's it for all I got right there.
What's going on with the Cardinals?
Not a whole lot, Vince. And at the first story, I thought of you when I heard the story. To everybody's amazement, Carlos Martinez retired this week. And in the words of Vince Hopper, I heard your voice in my head say, I didn't even know he was still playing. I don't think anybody did. I don't think Mrs. Martinez knew he was playing. But he retired. Vince, my final thoughts on Carlos Martinez is this. When he came up, he was electric. Man, the only problem was the ball going to just blast out of the strike zone because it moved all over the place. But he could look like somebody incredible for 4 innings. Oh my gosh, I thought I had that turned off. Anyway, he would look like he was like an all-star for 4 innings, and then he'd have an inning where he just fell apart. He'd walk people, he'd hit people, he just lost it. And you just couldn't count on the guy. And I loved watching him play. You always, as a fan, wish, maybe he'll get his act together, but it never happened. So anyway, Carlos Martinez, his career's over. He had so much potential, and he had glimpses of greatness, but it never was for a long period of time.
Didn't he make an all-star team?
I think he made an all-star team. He had a bobblehead day. I got his bobblehead in my case. But, he just never – you thought this guy might be a guy, an ace that you can hang your hat on for years and years to come. But it wasn't to be. Let's see. I mentioned that me and Brody are going to the 3rd game of the season in Tampa Bay. The Cardinals have their roster. They started with 67 players. When they went down to spring training, they're down to 36. So there's probably like 1 or 2 more cuts before opening day. And some of the names they sent down to the minors is Packy Naughton, Blaze Jordan, a young guy we picked up over the winter, Jeremy Rivera, who was playing short a lot, Gershon Moreno, who looked really good at the beginning of spring training, but he kind of came back down to earth. And Ryan Fernandez has kind of been a little bit of a disappointment. He had so much last year. There was moments where he looked really good. So these guys are going to go down to the minors, work on their craft, and if any injuries or somebody gets in a slump, they could be right back up. Um, we've got the injured reserve list. Newt Barr, they say there's a chance he's going to be ready for opening day, but he hasn't really played at all. So I don't see him being ready for opening day. It's coming down to, it looks like Jordan Walker, who hasn't done anything, and Valdez, Nelson Valdez, is just hitting the lights out of the ball. So I think Nelson Valdez is going to play left, and Jordan Walker is going to be in right. But Jordan better pick it up because there's a lot of talent coming up behind him, and he's just struggling. And they've tried everything with him, and this is going in. He's 23 now. That's still very young. J.J. Weatherholt's never played a game in the big leagues, and he's 23 years old. So he's still very young, but, man, I don't – there comes a point, how much do we keep doing this? How long is this going to go? And I just hope he shows at least some improvement this year. And finally, Bill White. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say with Jordan Walker, I don't know if it's in his head or if it's a mechanical thing. If it's a mechanical thing, it sure seems like they could have ironed it out by now.
Yeah.
But it must be primarily in his head. But the weird thing about this is he's lost his power. When you're built that like a linebacker, you expect, okay, well, maybe they can't hit big league pitching and they get a 190 average, but they could run into 23 home runs, 24 home runs a year. He's just not hitting the ball that hard.
When he does hit it, it's on the ground, and it is like 100 miles an hour, but it's right at somebody. So he's not getting any lift on it. And I know you don't want guys just up there swinging for home runs, but man, at this point, he'd probably be about the same result. He's just, I think he's hitting like 200 as of today, but he went 0 for 4. So he's back under 200 again.
Yeah, I think that they're going to give him the job and see if maybe he snaps into it when the season starts. But I think they're going to give him a runway of, 8-10 games and see what happens.
I agree.
Because you can't just give up on him completely. But he's not like a young man anymore. He's not 30, but he's what, 24, 25?
He came right out of high school. He's 23 now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's still pretty young.
Still time. So
yeah.
But I think he gets, if I'm managing, I give him a runway of about a little over a week, and see what happens before I give up on him. And I don't want to say give up on him, but give up on him means you're going back to AAA.
Yeah.
So,
well, they've only got one more option with him, or they'll have to get rid of him. So he's up for the year. We're not, and let's be honest, with Cardinals, if we get 4th place, I'm hoping they can win about 75 games this year, be about what they were last year, and these guys get more experience. So he's going to get a lot of playing time. He might go down to get a couple of days off a week, but man, I'm pulling for him, really pulling for him this year. And the last bit of Cardinal news: Bill White, who was the first baseman for the Cardinals through the 60s, he made a lot of all-star games, was the commissioner of the National League at a time, at the Hall of Fame ceremony, will receive the Buck O'Neil Award. Now, I was going to look it up what the Buck O'Neil Award was. I love Buck O'Neil. He was the manager of the Kansas City Monarchs and just a great ambassador of the game, caretaker of the Negro League Hall of Fame out in Kansas City until he passed. Wonderful guy. So I'm sure Bill White, absolutely love him. So anyway, I just heard this week he's going to get that honor. So that's it in Cardinal land right there.
Nice. In Cubby news, I want to start off with Randy Hundley, all-star catcher of the 60s, very early 70s with the Cubs. Used to catch 157, 158 games a year in the Wrigley Heat. Really a man's man. Father of Todd Hundley. He's not doing so well, and he's got a small memorabilia collection. But being he is a player, it's like stuff that's worth, and he is donating that to Wrigley or to the Cubs, and they're going to put because it's not a huge collection, but they're going to put a small collection or his collection somewhere in Wrigley. And what they're going to do is they're going to let underprivileged kids go see that collection for free. So it's not going to be something that's charged. My understanding is it's not going to be something that's open for the public. It's just going to be for select underprivileged kids. They come in, after, they have different programs to go see games after the games. Hey, or before the game, come and see this collection. This is something that's not open to the general public. I think that would be tremendously cool. So Randy Hundley, I've always thought he was a class guy. I'm not so hot on Todd, but Randy, he did a few Cub games during the years whenever they'd need someone to fill in the radio booth. Um, I think that would be I think that's a great. It's an innovative thing to do to
Yeah.
earmark this. I want this to be something that is not open for everybody, but you can take kids who generally wouldn't get this opportunity. They could see something and they could know. I'm one of the few people that is able to see this. I think that's pretty cool.
Me too.
Okay. Seiya Suzuki in the Japan, the game they got eliminated. He is sliding into the base and he injured his right knee, and they did an MRI yesterday. And about 20 minutes before I got on here, we finally got the results of the MRI, and they're saying it looks good. There's swelling in the knee, but they think that he has a good shot of being in the lineup on opening day. And one of our listeners sent me a very kind message saying, I've heard you say that you're for players playing in the World Baseball Classic, even with the risk of being injured. Do you feel the same way still now that it's Seiya? And I do, because he could have injured his knee sliding into second base in a spring training game. I don't think that the World Baseball Classic is causing injuries. I think injuries happen, and if they happen to be at a spring training game, if they happen to be when you're out playing touch football on Thanksgiving with your kids, or you're at the World Baseball Classic, they happen. So I'm still in favor of that. What if he would have been down for half the season? I'd have been very sad, but I wouldn't have said, "Well, yeah, that's why he shouldn't have joined the World Baseball Classic." In my mind, could have slid in the base spring training and hurt it. It just happens. But anyway, it's a good thing that he has come out of that and come out of the MRI, and it's looking pretty positive. Jameson Tyone, he pitched pretty good in the World Baseball Classic, and then he came back in his first start in spring training for the Cubs, 3 innings, 10 hits, 10 runs. He has looked awful. I mean, absolutely awful. Someone who has looked terrible to awful. Tyone is awful. Awful is up here. Terrible is here. So
Okay.
terrible is still terrible. It's worse than bad.
Okay. Bad, terrible,
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah. So Imanaga has pitched terrible. And
Really?
yeah. And but we have a plethora of pitchers. We've got a lot of starting pitching. And someone who is now making this very interesting is Ben Brown, who has pitched great this spring.
Good.
And since he has come up with a sinker that he uses basically as a change as a sinker, he has been dynamite. And we've been waiting for this to happen. He's been trying to do it as a two-pitch pitcher with the fastball and the breaking ball. And apparently that wasn't working out. So they've added this sinker, and he has looked great in spring training. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tyon starts the year on the IR and we plug in Ben Brown and see if Tyon can maybe get a little rest, maybe get his head on straight. Then after a 10-day stint, come back and give Ben Brown a couple starts and see what he looks like. If you're going to give Ben Brown a couple of starts, we open with the Nationals, and then we have another terrible team coming in. I think the Rockies. So let him get a start there and see what he looks like.
Yeah.
And I know that Tyon is a veteran, Imanaga is a veteran, but come on, this point in spring training, if you're giving up 10 runs in 3 innings, there is something wrong.
I will
mean,
defend the Cubs. You guys had a lot of guys out in the World Baseball Classic. Now I know that 10 runs, some of them are back now, but I just think he won't be was awful. Maybe he'll just be bad. Maybe he'll move down to bad. And when PCA's in center and all these other guys are in place, Swanson and all them guys, Bergman.
well, the problem is they can't catch home runs.
Oh,
And
that's
what
true.
he's giving up. So
He went to the Michaelis pitching school.
yeah, that's a good analogy right there. Finally, in Cub news, Craig Counsell made some news because he wasn't at a couple of the spring training games. And what he did was went home because his daughter's high school basketball team was playing in the championship game. So he wanted to watch that.
Yeah.
It's been a great spring for Craig Counsell because his daughter played in the state championship game in Wisconsin. He got to watch his son in spring training. I think he's with the Diamondbacks.
Hey, all right.
So, and he's not like a big time prospect, but neither was Craig Counsell, and he made a career.
That's right.
So it was kind of a good week for that, and there's a lot of people that's giving him a little bit of criticism.
Oh.
Well, I shouldn't say a lot of people. There were a few people that were questioning, I guess you could say. And I do remember when Tony La Russa, first or second year managing the Cardinals, he had a daughter that was doing some kind of the way I understood it was some kind of a spiritual quest thing that she was doing.
Okay.
And he took time off during the season to go be with her for this.
Okay.
So it's not unprecedented that this kind of thing happens, but in spring training, I certainly think it's much ado about nothing.
You're a dad first, and family. Family comes first. If you've got a family member that you need to be there for, or whatever, that comes first. And he's back now, and all that. Yeah, I think it's much ado about nothing. Huh?
Food comes first.
All right, food, family. Okay.
No. Food, entertainment, a nice warm shower, and then family. That's how it goes.
Oh, okay. I hope my wife ain't watching this.
My kids never watch this. They don't know what I say about it. Oh, that's probably why they don't watch this, because they know what I say about it. Those of you who've heard my comedy stuff, it's all right out in the open.
You tell it all.
I was doing a show once, and a couple of my kids were there, and afterwards, one of the seasoned comics come ask me and said, "I can't believe you say that stuff with your kids there. This is their personal life." I'm their dad. I know them very well. I don't just say stuff. I run it by them. I'm smart enough to run it by them. Do you mind if I do this? My kids are so laid back. Go ahead, talk about us. We don't care, So anyway,
that's cool.
Well, this week it's exciting because we are going to do our favorite Cubbies of our lifetime. And JJ, I know you're going to come up with things like, Poopy Pants Morris, Big Sweaty Jim, players that didn't exist, but so, because that's what I'm going to do with the Cardinals.
I understand. Hey, I understand. 75 to now. I won't go back to when they were crazy nicknames and all that.
See, but, my favorite Cardinal infielder is Bobby Small Balls Jones.
Oh man, that's pretty rough.
Yeah, I'm going to let you go first with the Cubby favorites.
Okay, and I do, and Cubs and Cardinals, great rivalry, but there's so many things I love. I love just a good battle, and man, sometimes the Cubs get the best of us. They have a better year. Sometimes we get the best of them. We have the better year. It's crazy. I mean, we get so many great things with the Cardinal Cup. Sosa and McGuire, they're both roided up, but our roided up guy got your roided up guy. Great pitching matchups. Fergie versus Gibson. Oh, man, it's just magic. That was magic stuff. But we start with the infield, and this is not who I think's the best Cub infielder over the last 51 years. This is who my favorite player for the Cubs were over the last 51 years. And on the infield, I got to start. I will show his card. And this is my favorite Cub infielder, Sean Dunston. And one of the reasons I love Sean Dunston, if you notice in his card, his shirt is dirty. He played all out. I just love that. It's sliding. Sean always had a smile on his face. He was one of those cats that just loved to play the game. And he would come. Sometimes the picture would be a ball going up the middle, and here comes Sean Dunston out of nowhere. And he had this cannon for an arm. Until Mason Wynn, I think he had the strongest shortstop arm I've ever seen. And Wynn,
yeah.
I won't say Wynn's better. I'll just say Wynn's in the same tier as Sean Dunston. And he would just blast that ball across there. And the Cardinals had some fast runners. Sean played from 85 to 2002, and he played 12 years with the Cubbies. And I just absolutely loved him. Now, there was players on the team that probably had better stats. He was a 269 hitter. He stole 242 bases, had 150 home runs. And I just think he represented the Cubs. You'd be proud to have him on your team. And thank goodness the Cardinals got him for 2 years later. And you can't, you see the Cubs every once in a while, especially when the Cardinals play them, and you'd hear how they were doing. And they had such a good lineup back then from 85 to 95. But you can't appreciate a guy until he's on your team where you get to see him every game and listen to him on the radio and how's he doing. And Sean Dunston I tell you what, it was a treat following the team when he was on the shortstop on the team or watching him when he was on other teams. So my favorite Cubby infielder, without a doubt, Sean Dunston. Love that guy.
One of my great memories about watching baseball at Old Bush Stadium was, I don't know who the Cardinals were playing, and it was late in the game, seventh or eighth inning, and Dunston came up to pinch hit and hit like a 2-run home run. And I was like so proud of him for that moment.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you could guess who my infielder is, but I'm thinking maybe you'd say Bill Madlock, because Bill Madlock was my favorite player when I was a kid.
He was my what you call second guy.
Okay. My favorite infielder for the Cubs is, of course, Ryne Sandberg. There's a few reasons for that. I will say he was a lifetime Cub. It's not quite accurate because he had a few at-bats for the Phillies in 81 before he was traded to the Cubs. The fielding was awesome from the moment he got there. He started off his first year there. He's a light hitting third baseman, but he could field like it was nobody's business. They moved him to second. He was even a better second baseman than he was a third baseman. And I remember sitting in right field at Old Bush Stadium, and I was watching a game, and there was a couple of hits. I mean, you sit in a place in a stadium, you know what a hit looks like. Ground ball on the turf, going to go between second and first base. I'm just thinking there's a hit, and out of nowhere, there's Sandberg scooping up the ball and springing to his feet and tossing him out like it's nobody's business. But what I really liked about Sandberg was he was going to be a good player, more of a defensive type player and a light hitting, single sitting type guy. And before the 84 season, he just had a talk with, I don't know if it was Jim Fry or who he talked to, but they told him, you need to understand there are situations, you're a big enough guy, there are situations you need to try to drive the ball. You get, someone on second or third base, and you get a count in your favor, look fastball and try to pull something and, or try to hit something in the gap. And he started understanding the difference between being a hitter and understanding situational baseball, which nobody does today. But that's what made him such a great hitter. He would, if he had a fast runner on first base, he usually batted second in the lineup. He would just poke the ball into right field. You'd have first and third to start the game. But if he came up to bat and there was a 2-0 count, nobody was on base, or there was a runner on second, he'd try to muscle up And one year he actually led the league with 40 home runs. He had a couple other seasons where he hit 30 home runs. He made himself into a really great hitter. And the only mark I have against him was after the 93 or 94 season, not after, during the season, he retired and he was going through a divorce and stuff like that. And that still doesn't set right with me because I've been through 2 divorces and I did not have the luxury of taking any time off at all. I just had to power through it and not cry at work, and stuff like that. But he's still my favorite player. And you have to understand, I watched a lot of terrible baseball before the Cubs made the playoffs in '84. And the catalyst to that team was Ryan Sandberg, the MVP of '84. So special place in my heart. Thank you, Rhino. Miss you.
Right. Yeah, Rhino. Yeah, he should have a stat. Oh, he does have a statue outside.
He does. Yes.
I was there. It wasn't there yet. There is a link between Sandberg and the Cardinals, and I'll say this: for about 10 years, every All-Star team was Ryan Sandberg at second and Ozzie at short. And so I think those two are kind of linked together. When I think of one, I think of the other, and they're both in the Hall of Fame. And it was a pleasure having him just beat my team and compete against the Cardinals. So I just enjoyed Ryan Sandberg. What a class act. Well, we go to the outfield now, and my favorite outfielder, and I'm counting him as a Cub. He played on other teams, but my favorite outfielder, right field, Andre Dawson. And I got a good picture of the Hawk. There's the Hawk right there. I've got a little when I was in the Navy was the year Andre Dawson won the MVP. And the day after the season ended, I took the train down and just said, Wrigley Field ought to be over in this direction. And I got on a stop and just walked like 6-7 miles, and I found it. And they happened to have the gate open and was fixing the field for the wintertime. And I grabbed a shovel and act like I'm out there helping. And then I threw the shovel down and I had my friend take a picture of me. And I was standing in where the grass where Andre wore it down. I was in Andre Dawson's spot. And the place I came in was right behind right field. And then I act like I'm climbing the wall and acting like I'm trying to catch a ball. And then I went in the bullpen. Vince, they threw me out of the ball. Get the heck out of here, kid.
You were lucky you wasn't arrested for trespassing.
Well, back then I could run. I ran marathons. 3 hours 33 minutes is my fastest. I figured I could outrun those guys for a couple blocks and then they'd give up. So I got some cool pictures. I'll share them sometime. But Andre Dawson, to me, last. And now he's not like Dunston where he's always smiling. He was kind of a stoic guy, very serious in the batter's box, and he would just whip down on that ball and send it flying. He actually played more years with Montreal, but I think he had his best years with the Cubs. He played six years with the Cubbies, 87 to 92. I'm just a fan of this man. An 8-time, I met him once at a card show, 8-time All-Star, 8-time Gold Glove, a WAR 64.8, 2,774 hits, 438 home runs, and a 279 lifetime batting average. And, I think of today, if we could just get Gorman to hit 245, I'll be ecstatic. And he hit 279 his whole career. So Andre Dawson's just a class act from Miami, Florida, Hall of Famer, MVP, and a Rookie of the Year. What more can you say about a player? He's accomplished everything. So Andre Dawson, I'll show the card one more time. That's my favorite Cubby outfielder right there.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard the news, but Dawson went in the Hall of Fame, I think 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. And you can request what hat to wear, but the Hall is going to decide. So they put him in an Expo hat, which he did not. He wanted to go in as a Cubby, and they put him in as an Expo. And he really he didn't like his years at Montreal. It was a bad baseball environment. The stadium was terrible, and his knees got shot because he's basically playing on concrete. He was a big guy putting the stress on his knees, which is why he went to Chicago. In fact, he was a free agent going into that 87 season, 86 season, I don't remember which one, with the Cubs. Nobody wanted him because his career looked like it was going downhill because his knees were in bad shape. And he just was saying, I just want to play on grass. My knees will feel better. So he took that blank contract into the Cubs office and said, fill in the numbers. And they just kind of, okay, 50, 500,000. And they didn't think he'd take it. He said, sure, okay, I'll play. And, revived his career. But to make a long story even longer, the Hall of Fame has now decided that if a player decides they don't want a logo on their hat, they can have that. So he's getting a new plaque, same verbiage and everything on it, but instead of Montreal, he's going to have a blank hat. And I don't know why that's so important to him, but it is. But there we go. But he is not my favorite outfielder. My favorite outfielder only played for the Cubs for 2 years, former Cardinal too. The Cardinal fans didn't like him as much as I did. My favorite all-time Cub outfielder is Dexter Fowler. Showed up to the ballpark every day, big smile. He was a smart player. He batted leadoff for our teams, and Joe Madden used to tell him, as you go, we go, and that was the truth. And he would take that to heart. He would go up there, and he played a lot of situational baseball. He would hit early pitch home runs. One year, he hit 17 home runs with the Cubs. He started off Game 7 of the World Series on the first, second pitch with hitting a home run. He understood that, I'm not a home run hitter, but boy, if they throw the ball, if they throw me a meatball, which is what you do a lot of times to start the game, I'm going to ambush it. So he's a smart player, heady player. He had his best years with the Cubs, and he didn't really do too great with the Cardinals. But he was the catalyst of our World Series team. Before that season, he entered free agency, and word got out that he'd signed with Baltimore. So we thought he was with Baltimore, and all of a sudden he shows up at camp. He's back on the team. We're like, oh yeah, he did sign with Baltimore. So very happy, and I just loved him. Wasn't the greatest outfielder. He was a good defender. Wasn't a great defender. He had some speed, but he wasn't blazing. But he knew how to play the outfield, and he knew how to hit. And he was a class guy. He's a very charitable human being. Even in his years with the Cardinals, he's always been charitable. And he's just a very happy guy, and I've always loved him. So Dexter Fowler, favorite Cub outfielder of my life.
You picked a good one. Vince, we're to pitchers now. And pitchers come in all shapes and sizes. Baseball players, you got Eddie Gaedel, Freddie Patek, Altuve, you got Randy Johnson, you got Kid Colby, you got Bartolo Colon, Eddie Gaedel, I think I mentioned him, Jim Abbott, Pete Gray. But my favorite Cub pitcher, and I love this guy because I saw myself in him, and he was a competitor, but he was a nice guy, and it was Rick Russell. Quincy, Illinois. I know you always mention where he's from, Quincy, Illinois. And Vince, I always liked him, but you pointed out some statistics about him, and I've been paying attention. And my gosh, this guy had a heck of a career. He played, he was in the top 10 for the Cy Young 3 times, and twice he finished second. 77, Steve Carlton won it. I mean, that's high praise. And then in 87, Steve Bendroja won the Cy Young. So he came very close, but did not. 3 All-Star games, 2 Gold Gloves, and nicknamed Big Daddy because guys like me, the stocky guys are usually catchers, or they have a short Roger Freed, players like that. They don't stick around a long time. Rick Russell was a big man, but he was a husky guy, and I always pull for the husky guys. Rick Russell had a 68.1 WAR. That's almost Andre Dawson level there, with 214 wins and 191 losses. And although his winning percentage wasn't better, he actually won more games than Adam Wainwright. And I know a lot of folks out there are Adam Wainwright fans, and nothing to take away from Adam, but Adam won 200 games. Well, Rick Russell won 214. Plus, Adam struck out, I think, second in Cardinal history. But in his career, Rick Russell, he struck out 2015. So I think his career matches up a lot with Adam Wainwright, who was a very good pitcher too. His ERA, lifetime 3.37, and he played from 72 to 91, and he played 12 years with the Cubs. So I always think of him as a Cub. I see him in that. When I think of Rick Russell, I think of him in that Cub uniform. But he also played 5 years with the Giants, 3 with Pittsburgh, and 1 with the Yankees. And this is a nice, consistent stat, Vince. 9 straight years with 10 or more victories. That's hard to do. A lot of injuries. And this man had a lot of innings pitched and 102 complete games. And that's something Adam Wainwright never did. So I am a big Rick Russell fan. I know times have changed, the game's changed, but I respect the guy that finishes what he started. Rick Russell was one of those guys.
Yeah, if you look at the stats of Russell against other pitchers in the Hall of Fame, like for instance Jack Morris, early win, he stacks up better than a lot of people who are in the Hall of Fame. And he was just gone with the breeze, with the voting. I don't know if he stuck around for more than 3 years on the ballot, but boy, when you look at the totality of his work, it stacks up with a lot of Hall of Famers. He didn't have a whole lot of flashy years where, he didn't have this 25-5 record anywhere, but won 20 games before his couple of times in the Cy Young running. He was just very consistent. And he was on my short list. But my favorite starting pitcher of all time is Kerry Wood.
There you go. Good one.
My favorite, I love pitching, and my favorite game pitched, the best game I've ever seen pitched. And I also saw the end of the last 3 innings of the Kershaw no hitter a few years ago, or perfect game a few years ago. Was it a perfect game? Anyway, he struck out like 15, but Kerry Wood that day was unhittable. If you ever have a chance to watch that game, and they play it all the time, it's probably on YouTube now. Go watch it. He was throwing wiffle balls, hard wiffle balls. And he had a terrible bullpen session going into that. The first pitch of the game went to the screen, and then he just settled down and struck out 20 and only gave up one little chintzy hit. So he's my favorite. What I really liked about him, though, aside from fighting through all the injuries and aside from all the great things he did, once led the league in strikeouts and everything, what I liked about him was he was a competitor. He was angry on the mound. He would yell at opposing teams, not to instigate, but if he wouldn't mind. Yeah, you want to do something about it? I'm right here. And he's a big Texan kid. You're not going to bother him. But one of the most heartwarming things was his last game. He knew it was going to be his last game. He got the last out of the inning, and he's running back to the dugout. His little boy runs, and he picks him up. That's like, I started crying.
I know. I got emotional about stuff like that too, man. I had Kerry Wood on my fantasy baseball team. Nobody wants to hear about people's fantasy teams, but I had him that year, and that game, a good game is 8 to 12 points if you're starting pitching. Kerry Wood got me like 35 in that game. It was just unheard of. 9 innings, 20 strikeouts, a win in 9 innings. Oh, it was phenomenal. And I have to say, I was like, golly, this guy's. It was fun watching that.
Yeah, and I was able to get off work early that day and go see that game. Just because I think it was his 3rd major league start. I wanted to see him pitch. I wasn't able to see him pitch yet. So I wanted to see this guy that everyone's saying is going to be the next big thing pitch. And boy, he was the next big thing that day. So
about that. Yeah. Some careers are long and the numbers, and then some are small but phenomenal. And God love him. All right. My reliever, and Vince, I thought you guys have a lot of relievers. Cubs have been blessed with a lot of great closers, great pitchers in the bullpen. But the one guy I just kind of think of more than anybody else, and he spent 8 years with the Cubbies from 80 to 87, is Big Lee Smith. I'm a Lee Smith fan anyway. He's a Louisiana guy, laid back, but man, Vince, he didn't run from the bullpen. He kind of came on out. He'd rear back and just throw darts in there, and I loved him. In those years, I would watch the Cubs because I love to see Lee Smith play. Absolutely loved him. 8 years, 80 to 87 with the Cubbies. He came to the Cardinals, and we didn't have a great team, but Lee Smith was phenomenal with us. That was the Joe Torre years between Whitey and LaRussa. And he was one of if there was something to watch, he was one of the guys to watch on that team. And he played around the league, Boston and the Angels and the Reds and the Orioles, Montreal and the Yankees. And Just wonderful. He finished in for the Cy Young. He's a reliever. He finished second, fourth, and fifth in 91, 92, and 94. And he lost out to Tom Glavine, Greg Maddox, and David Cohn. Now, David Cohn was when he was with the Orioles. That's a major competition right there. But 400, he's in the Hall of Fame, 7-time All-Star, 3-time reliever of the year, and 478 saves. What can you say? Absolutely love Lee Smith, and I miss him. And I've met him over the years. I have a few things signed, and it's just a nice, sweet guy.
Well, I'm going to have a surprise here because, like you said, Smith, Suter, Randy Myers, Wade Davis, we have had our share of really good relievers. My favorite is Carlos Marmol.
Oh, yes.
And it's simply because of this. He proved how stupid major league hitters are. Because you could stand there at the plate and there is no way out of 7 pitches he could throw 3 over the plate. You never had to swing the bat. I was listening to a Cubs Red game on Sirius FN, and the Cubs bring him in, and the only thing I can get is a Cincinnati broadcast. And Marty Brenneman says, "This is the only pitcher in Major League Baseball I absolutely would not take a swing at because he's going to walk you." And like he threw 5 pitches and 3 of the hitters swung at the first pitch. Marty Brenneman's going crazy, but he could not throw the ball over the plate. He had the best slider in baseball. It broke like nobody's business, but he could never get it over the plate. And the late Duncan.
Yes, Chris.
Chris Duncan. He said that he was up the bat and he swung at the ball and the ball hit him in the junk. And it was a strike. That's all he got for his effort of being hit where you shouldn't be hit because he swung at the ball. Because when he started swinging, that ball was outside. He thought that slider's going to break in. I'm going to hit it. It almost took a right turn right for the gonads. So,
oh my God.
But I loved Carlos Marmol. He'd drive me crazy, but I knew major league hitters are still going to swing the bat at it, and they did. He had a few years where he had like 30 saves, and I'm thinking, how can he save games? All you have to do is stand up there and he walked me. But that was his career.
Fantastic. I love the stories with that too, man. That was great. Well, we're to the coach. And the Cubs in 51 years have had a lot of coaches. There's one particular one I'm just so fond of. And player and coach had success with the Cubs too. That, in the long run, that always gets you more revved up about a player or coach. But mine is Don Zimmer from Cincinnati, Ohio. He's no longer with us. And when he played, he had some great nicknames, Popeye, Zim. And somewhere, I think it was Randy Myers or somebody called him the gerbil. And I was like, the gerbil? They got away with that? But if you see his baseball card, you can understand why.
I'm sure Pedro Martinez has a few names for him.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, see, the younger people will remember that so much. Passionate man, loved the game, was a coach, manager, bench coach, has done it all. But when he played 12 years in the majors. He's with the Dodgers, the Senators, the Cubs, the Reds, and the Mets. 2-time All-Star, mainly second and shortstop, and he won 2 world championships. He was on 2 world championship teams. 13-year manager, managed 1,744 games and 885 wins and 858 losses. Now, he managed the Cubs for 4 years, 88 to 91. And Vince, maybe I've got that time period. I was out of college. I was just in the military and just getting out of the military, 87 to 91 in that time period, 93 actually. So I was in the military then, and I would go up to to Wrigley Field and watch games when I was in Chicago, and absolutely love him because to me, Don Zimmerman was like Grandpa. Grandpa's managing the game, been around the game forever, knew everything. And in '89, he was named Manager of the Year when the Cubbies made the playoffs. And I'm not sure why it was just a couple years later he was gone. But one of my favorite quotes about and Don Zimmer said this. He says, "What you lack in talent, you can make up with desire, hustle, and giving 100% all the time." And I agree. I think Don Zimmer, even though he might not have been the most talented athlete, worked his butt off and was a very good player and just got better and better and gave you everything he had. And as a manager, I loved his post-game show comments before the thing. He was just a great baseball guy, and I really respect that. His longevity, I respect as well. So Don Zimmer is my all-time favorite Cub manager.
Did you ever see that SNL skit where Horatio Sands played Don Zimmer?
No.
And they would have like a talk show, like Jerry Springer, and they'd have a guest. The guest would say something stupid, and Zimmer would say, "Oh, now you're gonna get it." He'd act like he was running like an old man, and he'd just fall over.
Oh no, I'm gonna look for that. That sounds great.
Great stuff. Well, my manager is, of course, Joe Madden, and he will forever be my favorite manager until a manager brings home 2 world championships. Enough said.
Yeah, it's great.
That's my guy, Joe.
Heck yeah, I loved him. I loved him.
By the way, I wanted to show you. I picked this up. I know you already have it, but I did pick it up.
I don't think Oh, you got the pocket schedule.
Yeah, look at that.
I do not have a pocket schedule yet. Oh man,
you don't?
I've seen him online, but I haven't. But I guess when I go to the ball game, I'll get one. Very nice.
You can have mine. I mean, I just wanted to show it to you, and then I'd throw it away. So
thank you, sir.
So you'll get it about October. So.
Yeah, I'll get it in October.
Oh, I have another big, thick packet.
Oh, okay.
So I'm only going to do half of them. There are 28 cards here, and nobody has that kind of time. Nobody.
That's a lot. Well, I do. I ain't going nowhere until work tomorrow. Vince, I've got the 2025. They just came out not long ago. Top Stadium, and I showed this about 2 weeks ago, and I've got another. I bought another pack of them right there. Tom Maget sponsored card opening right there.
Nice.
Yes.
You can go ahead and start.
Ooh, well, mine only got 5 cards and no gum and no puzzle pieces. So let me get this pack opened here. Let's see what we got. Of course, no Hall of Famers. Well, they do have some older players. So I don't have any Hall of Famers. Here's my first card right here. Well, Hall of Famer. They got an older player here at Fenway. The one, the only Pedro Martinez. Oh, very good. Pedro.
We just talked about him.
I know. Well, we talked about this guy too. Yankee, maybe a Hall of Famer one day. Garrett Cole. Look at that. They really get fancy with their cards. They got the lights in the background. I like that.
He looks like he should have a lightsaber instead of
yeah, he can attack by the Jedis. That's what the back of the card looks like. Very nice.
Nice.
Ooh, a green one here of. Am I reading that right? He's sliding. The one, the only, a green variant of Buster Posey. Right there. Now president of the Giants. There you go. Well, not a Cub, and not in a Cub uniform. He's in a Red Sox uniform. Alex Bergman.
There we go.
There we go. Get ready for baseball, ladies and gentlemen. The best defense in all of baseball, the Cubs right there. And he's going to hold them down third base. And, oh my gosh, I don't know. This may be my all-time favorite pitcher right here. The one, the only Nolan Ryan. Look at that in the Astro uniform. Very nice.
You're going to have more Hall of Famers than me. Is that your 3 out of 4 Hall of Famers?
Yeah, 3 out of 5.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Are you done? Or do you want to throw more Hall of Famers at me? Okay. Here is my gum. It came in 3 pieces. So
very nice for the whole family to share.
Yeah, I got the 88 tops.
Okay.
And we start with all-star from the Toronto Blue Jays, left-handed pitcher Jimmy Key.
Oh, Jimmy Key, smooth. Yeah.
Ooh, I think this man should be a Hall of Famer. We've talked about him before. The right fielder for the Red Sox, Dwight Evans.
Dewey, outstanding player, long career.
Oh, very good Philly. Like this guy, fast runner. Not much of a defender, but Juan Samuel.
Oh, yeah. 50 stolen bases a season. Outstanding.
Mariners shortstop. Also played for the White Sox. Ray Quinones.
I remember the name. I couldn't tell you anything about him, but I remember the name.
Hall of Famer. I know you like this guy. I'm not a huge fan of him. I mean, he was a Met. Catcher, Gary Carter.
Gary Carter, the kid, Montreal Expos too.
Here's a guy I've never heard of. Looks like he's getting ready to spit a loogie at somebody for the Twins. What's this guy's name? We have Mark Davidson. Doesn't look like he's about ready to spit.
Yes, he does.
Oh, left-hander for the Athletics, Kurt Young.
I remember
that name.
Yeah.
Oh, all around. I even saw this guy play center field. He played a lot of second base, a little bit of shortstop for the Braves, Glenn Hubbard.
Second base, yeah. Very good. They were real good when he played there.
Yeah, I saw a couple of games where they had him in center field too.
Glenn Hubbard? Wow.
Oh, we have a Hall of Famer. Another one that you love. I'm not so hot at the grumpy old man, Rich Gossage.
Oh, love Gossage. If I had a team, I want Gossage on my team. Maybe not now, but in his prime.
Manager for the Cubs. Sometimes you forget this guy managed. He had such a. I think he was right before Zimmer. Frank Lucchese.
I remember the name, but I couldn't tell you anything. I guess they weren't successful. He didn't stay around long. I don't remember him.
Yeah, you've heard of the Lucchese crime family? Yeah, he's part of that.
That's him?
Yeah. Oh, left-handed pitcher for the Blue Jays. Pretty good pitcher at this time, like a four-starter, John Cerruti.
Okay.
Yeah. He was 11-4.
Wow.
Not bad.
I'll take that.
4.5 ERA, but yeah, okay. Topps rookie card for Expos infielder Casey Candell. And I do have a piece of trivia about him. He was the only major league player whose mother played for the Women's Professional League.
All right.
Oh, now I have All-Star. Looks like he's wearing a Cardinal hat. Looks like he's about ready to accuse Albert Pujols of steroids. We have the Ripper, Jack Clark.
Jack Clark. He did not like Gary Carter. He wouldn't move out of the way. He told me sometimes he didn't even move the bat. He kept the bat there. And Gary Carter had to throw around it. He stood in there. He always was looking for Gary Carter to say something. I think he was just ready to snap, but Carter didn't do anything.
I like this guy, but he just needed to be more humble. He played outfielder for the Brewers, Glenn Braggs.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, everything's about you, Glenn Bragg.
So, anyway, well, we're going to talk about next week.
Oh, the Cardinals.
Opening day.
Opening day and the Cardinals.
Yeah, and we will know who won the World Baseball Classic.
That's right.
And then in 2 weeks, we should have our roundtable of everybody from the division, and we'll kind of talk about what we feel is going to happen this year. Were we pleased with the offseason? Are we kind of happy with how the teams are doing? Like 4 games into the season. So, all right. Well, JJ, I will see you later. You have a good day. It's supposed to be warm tomorrow, like 67. So it's Missouri. So
that's where we'll all have colds, but it'll be nice.
All right. Thank you, everybody.